Torchlight Infinite's new Clockwork Ballet season is nearly upon us. And so if you're looking for some ideas of what to play, well, spoiler alert, it's mostly a lot of the same things that you were playing in Whispering Mist, with a couple exceptions and a couple of very big differences. So for the start of the video, I'm going to get into the big things that are changing, then talk about a few builds that I'd like to highlight. Before I do though, a very quick disclaimer. You're going to see gameplay throughout this video. Some of it is footage from the trailers. Some of it is just going to be me messing around on the standard server, but character that is definitely not optimized nor representative of you in a league start situation. That's just to give you an idea of how the skill looks, maybe a little bit of a feel for the character. But again, it's not representative, it's just there to provide a visual reference. With that out of the way, the most important and wide-reaching change is skill stats. All damage skills now have one or more main attribute, that being strength, dexterity, or intelligence, with each point providing 0.5% direct damage, and then also increasing the damage caused by ailments the skill inflicts or damage from summoned minions. So yes, Motos, Iris, we haven't forgotten about you here. Now think about that for a second. 0.5%. So if you have 200 int and you're using an intelligence skill, well guess what? You deal 100% additional damage, double the original, which is a huge change to build crafting in Torchlight Infinite. And personally, I suspect a big side effect of this is going to be that you'll want a lot of main stats on your gear early on, because this is a very nice damage multiplier. That said, if your weapons are shit, you're not going to have any sort of baseline to increase with that multiplier. Think about it this way, 2 times 0, still 0. But as long as you have that nice baseline, this is going to be a potent source of damage. Also, some skills are easier to scale than others, because some of them scale off of multiple main attributes. But a side effect, the scaling of attribute-related affixes have been adjusted accordingly. So yeah, all those stat stackers, basically, the builds you knew before don't exist anymore. We're in a whole new world where everyone's an attribute stacker. And so of course, we'll have to play around with it, and just see after the Clockwork Ballet season launches. And speaking of, if you want my thoughts on Clockwork Ballet, maybe some farming strategies of a new void chart, or just the build that I end up playing, well, get subscribed, and then hit the like button to tell YouTube to share this video to more people. So for now, let's get into a few recommendations that I think are standouts, including some winners from the patch notes, and also one thing that I really wouldn't recommend playing. So first up, the thing that I am personally the most excited for, Charge Calling Moto. He's getting a lot of buffs. In fact, with all the new scaling and all the changes, this is practically a full rework, because he's going to feel very, very different. Now I know there have been some concerns about, okay, but minions now count towards the summon limit before they explode. Won't this mean that you summon more things and then they override and all that? Gonna have to play with it to know for sure, but personally, I'm feeling really, really confident with this one because of a change to Surprise Force. The minion speed of a minion's charge is affected by their attack speed. So if you get more attack speed, they will charge and explode faster, thus meaning you will never actually hit your minion limit because the minions will constantly charge, explode, resummon, charge, explode, resummon. Also, he got massive buffs just across the board, tons of new scaling options. Oh, and Quick Battle is now 50% of max life and energy shield added to the base phys damage for self-destruct, up from 16. So if you wanted a reason to make your Moto even tankier, now you stack life, transfer that over to your minion, and now your minion does even bigger big booms. Again, this has been one of my favorite starter builds in all of Torchlight Infinite ever since he came out. There are so many buffs here that I honestly don't even have a number for how much more damage it is. Let's just go with yes. I suspect he's going to be insanely broken, like Erika Lightning Shadow from last season broken. And I'm very excited to play him. Yeah, spoiler alert, for once, on a season start, I know what I'm starting, and I'm super pumped. Another build that should still be good and should transition smoothly into the endgame is Frostpool Gemma. Basically, fill the screen with icy explosions by playing Gemma's Frostbitten Heart and combining it with the skill Frost Terra, which I'm going to keep calling Frostpool because its name got changed at some point and I'm old and don't remember these things. Now, this is a dot build that's focused on reap purification, so at first it might seem like you're not doing much damage and then all of a sudden you'll do all the damage. These are your reaps proccing. This also means the more reaps that you get on gear, the faster your damage ramps. Because you're playing Frostbitten Heart, yes, you will pretty much freeze everything forever and always. Plus, those icy explosions from your Cold Pulse are super satisfying to watch. If you like watching flashing lights and pretty colors, trust me, this is absolutely the build for you. Though if you're playing on PC, I will warn you of one small quirk the skill has. which is that if you put your cursor very far at the edge of a screen, the Frost Terra won't actually drop at the edge of a screen. It's out of a skill's range, so try to keep it more at a medium distance, as you see me doing in the gameplay here. And if you don't like icy explosions, but you do like running builds, I recommend Mind Control Youga. One disclaimer here, it's not going to have the most amazing single target DPS. That's not really why you play this build, and you can use other dot skills as secondary augments. That's totally fine. What it is good at is running very fast and killing everything very passively. So if you are a lazy player, you just want to turn on auto guide and not have to hit buttons, this is the kind of build for you that will help you level very quickly and smoothly. Just keep in mind that you'll probably want to make some adjustments from the leveling version for the end game. That said, there's plenty of people on the hero rankings who play Mind Control Youga all the time. They end up fixing the problems for boss damage, so it's certainly doable. Since again, this is a reap purification build, the more reaping sources you have, the better your boss damage is going to get. And furthermore, because it's a dot skill, make sure to max out your Star Stalker and get all the Empower skill effect you can. That's going to turn it into a massive nuke that locks onto an enemy and allows you to obliterate them. It's just that a lot of these things don't quite come together in the early game, hence the limited single target DPS initially. Now one last build that should be very solid is Train Rehan. Burst got a lot of buffs in the patch notes. Now Burst has much better scaling because not only can you use the skill stat, but it also gets a bonus based on skill levels. So if you stack a bunch of global skill levels, your burst is going to be massive. Train isn't always the strongest build, but it is a very comfy build, and it's been a fan favorite. It's kind of a whirlwind of Torchlight Infinite at this point. So if you want to play it, then you absolutely can. Unfortunately, I don't have a Rehan, so I don't have any footage for you, but if you just search Train Rehan, maybe look up something that Milky has done in the past, then I'm sure you're going to be able to find gameplay. And by the way, there's also a good chance that Milky is going to be playing Train Rehan again, so if you want to know more, just check out his channel. Now last up, let's get into a little speculation, because as part of a reveal, Carino Zealot of War was teased. And how might you go about leveling him? Well, there's two things that come to mind for me. The first is if you want to play it, quote-unquote, as intended, and the second is if you just want to do your own thing, and basically ignore the ammo mechanic before you're able to have blank firing at level 60. If you want to play the quote-unquote intended way, I think the best skill is going to be Blazing Bullet. I'm assuming that's what he starts with, though I don't know for sure. It was certainly showcased in some of the gameplay from the reveal, so there's a good chance I'll have it. And Blazing Bullet is particularly helpful because it has good mechanics, like you shoot an enemy, it explodes, then that explosion wipes out the rest of the pack. Pretty much free AoE that allows you to progress very, very quickly, because ultimately having good single target damage isn't really super important as you progress through the time marks. It really is just about how fast can you AoE everything. So because the skill has solid mechanics, I suspect this is going to be one to use. The other thing that could be very good is Arrow Einherjar. You know, the skill that people use to level Carino when they don't want to deal with ammo, or the skill that people use to level Bing, or just play Bing in general. Basically, the Arrow Einherjar is probably not going to interact with his ammo at all. But that means it can just continually keep firing. Also, because you only put it down once every couple of seconds, it allows you to be highly mobile, and abuse all sorts of fun snapshotting buffs for not having used a skill within the past 2 seconds, because you're just dropping it occasionally. With that said, check out Maxwell's Builder and check out the hero rankings in the early days of a season so that you can stay up to date on what other people are playing on Carino Zealot of War. I considered starting him, and to be honest, this character didn't grab me. Sometimes the starting character, really cool, really down for the theme. This one feels like this is a character that you need a little more gear, so I suspect he's going to be a strong second or third build, but probably not the thing that I'm starting with. But again, who knows? I always change my mind a million times before a season start. I might end up playing Carino Zealot of War. Next up, before I get into a build that you probably shouldn't be starting anymore, a quick note about my Ring of Ice Youga from the last season. I do think it's still going to be an excellent starter, but there's a couple of key changes that you need to keep in mind. The skill has been adjusted to cast a little bit faster, making it feel more responsive, but not hit quite as hard. Basically, the DPS should be roughly the same. It'll be a little harder to one-shot stuff. As long as you have the gear to actually one-shot things, it'll still feel really good because it casts faster, therefore is more responsive. The much bigger change is that Surging Inspiration prototype has been removed from the game. But the other good news there is you don't need to farm for Surging Inspiration prototype. Instead, if you're going to use Surging Inspiration, you want to farm for the full thing, and the best way to do that is, of course, by getting to the endgame and doing God of Machines. Maybe spec out your Void chart for that, as I'm sure there's a lot of passives that will A, allow you to get more God of Machines, and B, allow you to get more bonuses from God of Machines. If you are looking for something nice to boost your damage early on, maybe get the Amulet Photophobia. This provides you with Beacon, and that means you don't have to get Beacon from the tree, which opens you up to take another damaging Goddess of Knowledge talent like Winter. And so with that, good luck in starting Clockwork Ballet. I'm kind of curious, are you going to start any of the builds from his list, or are you trying something else? Especially if you're trying something weird and wacky, be sure to share it down in the comments below. For me personally, I tend to go for safer starts, which is why I'm looking at Moto Charge Calling. I mean, he got so many buffs, but he can't possibly be bad, right? As always, do take everything with a healthy grain of salt, because this is speculation. We haven't played on the live servers, and the patch notes never give perfect or complete information for any game. But these are definitely the builds that I think have the most to gain from all the changes taken in totality. That said, there's one build that has a lot to lose that I absolutely would not recommend starting, and that is Erika Lightning Shadow. It seems like she's really gotten nothing but nerfs. As I kept reading the patch notes, I was like, wait, there's another nerf to Erika? How OP was she? And to be honest with you, I think the nerfs may have gone slightly farther than is warranted. So if there's any character that I would say, don't start, well, there's two. Carino, Ranger of Glory, he still kind of sucks, and while he did get a lot of buffs, I don't think they're going to be enough. And Erika Lightning Shadow, because she got pretty much every nerf under the sun, but who knows, maybe she'll ultimately be fine. I just doubt it given how many nerfs there were and how significant some of them are. Now that said, if you're looking for something else to watch, maybe to find a little bit more news about the Clockwork Ballet and what else there is to look forward to, then check out my video where I go over the full season preview up in the card and down below. And of course, before I go, a big thanks to my patrons and channel members for their continued support. For as low as $1 a month, you can help make videos just like this one possible. Link to support is down below, and it helps ensure there's more videos like this for every Torchlight season. And of course, a big thanks to everyone who watched to the end. I'm glad you enjoyed the video. Hopefully this helped you decide your starter. Good luck in your Clockwork Ballet season, and don't worry, more videos soon, so I'll see you then after the season launches.